What up? What up? It's your boy Concert Viz 34. All right, so DMB 83, Cyrus Jones here for a bit before need to take off. No worries. Kids play date with their cousins. That's cool. It's cool. It's always important to, especially nowadays, for kids to play with their with cousins. There's not a lot of families are getting smaller. There's not a lot of family you have, so that's an important thing. Um, Actually, speaking of family, that's one thing that I've tried to do, because what I'm finding with my personal family is I have so many aunts and uncles, and they have cousins, and I have grandparents who even have cousins and siblings still alive. But there's not a lot of people my age because not everyone had kids. And one of the things I've been doing recently, I got vaccinated, waited a little bit, and then went on a vacation to Virginia just to talk to my grandma's cousins and trying to get in contact with more of the relatives closer to my age. I say all that to say that yes, playing with your cousins, hanging out with family is very important. And not all family tries to stay in contact. Where what I'm trying to do now is go and visit people so they have no excuse. But it is your boy Concertviz 34. We're going to get into some things today. Concerts of present, as far as this weekend and next weekend for me, concerts of the future. And then also, we're going to start off looking at Carter Beauford. Some things he said. It was an interview by a dude out of New York who had some opinions on Carter Beauford on the drums. DMB 83. Oh, you grew up super close to cousins. So some of my besties you want same. Yeah, that's really that's good. Um, Back to music. What's your Twitter? I always forget. What's your Twitter name? I feel like everyone has different names for. Oh wait, are you the fan that Jane likes? I'm trying to make sure I have the right. Oh, Jane likes the. Okay, yes. Okay, perfect. Okay, so you're in Australia. So you're okay. So you're in tomorrow. You're in the second. Okay, awesome, awesome, very cool, very cool. And I'm sure Sandra Jones has got to be coming on. John, what up, John? So, John, salute to you, hanging out with your son earlier today, flashing the watch. I saw the picture you put online on Facebook. Back to the movies. John, did you see the Carter Beauford interview? Donations. I got to get my Cash App up one of these days. So y'all, listen, you can support the cause, help me to expand my brand. Well, John, did you see the? Yeah, we got to talk about that. John, why do you not want to? We're talking about it because you have no comment. Oh yeah, I know why. I won't share it on there. But nah, it's a silly silly inside joke. That's all I'll say. It's not. It hasn't. It's just. We're mixing two step. Yeah. So, but the thing is, though, what I do like about that interview is Carter seems to just live his life and enjoy his life outside of the music. He said, because he's like, yeah, he didn't even know. He's like, we're mixing two step with that other song. I can't even remember. And you know what they've been doing. You know, if you were following before the pandemic year, leap year for the band, they were mixing two step with Halloween, two step with some other songs as well, like Ants Marching. So, hey, Sandra Granny, just wishing you the well. I know you're recovering from the surgery and hope you're doing well. And we're talking Carter Beauford on the drums in his interview. Now, the interviewer, just like a lot of New Yorkers who try to do this thing, they're not these paparazzi people. I mean, you know, like TMZ always has, you know, they get the headline. But the interviewer Adam, you know, he's got it. Well, if you look on his page, he pops up in the New York City area. He has Oprah, he has Jake Paul, he has all sorts of celebrities that he's interviewed. So I mean, Carter Beauford is probably one of the lesser, you know, known people. But it was just a paparazzi. Like, it wasn't. He creeped out of New York and popped out, and Carter was probably just like so happy that he hasn't had to deal with people popping out of nowhere. That the interview just caught him off guard. And yeah, so he has Michael Rappaport from Sports, Johnny Bananas, I think that's from the Cake Boss, Floyd Mayweather, Shaq, Sarah Jessica Parker, you know, Adam Sandler, Oprah, Joel Osteen. Oh my gosh. But I mean, overall, I think that he should have talked more about the band. If he has that time and Carter's talking to him, we don't care about the golf game. All right. Stop trying to make connection with golf. I know it's one of his big things, but I just didn't get like, oh, what's your handicap? What's this? Oh, who's your dream golf? No one cares about that. And yes, Carter had his his gloves, his drumming gloves on in the interview. Mike, I'm gonna get to that in a second about the gorge later on in the show and what I'm planning. But we did hear that he's ready to go, right? Carter's ready to go. The band is anxious to tour, and I think that's what really pushed this tour. They were concerned about safety, but I think they're just like, forget it. We're creatures of habit. We like we like being out there and playing. And I think that's really what the push was, to say, all right, they made some calls to different states, and the states are hoping to open up. That's the plan. So they're going to open up. So I thought, you know, that was interesting. And then he deferred. You know, he didn't answer anything, which is, you know, how media, if you're media trained. Oh, Mike, you're in Canada. What province in Canada are you in, Mike? Because like I know Newfoundland canceled. I'm a big hockey fan. I know they canceled the Women's World at the last minute. But we'll get to that. Oh, Alberta. Okay, so you're okay. Yeah, so you're Alberta. Okay, so that's Edmonton and Calgary. 8-hour drive. Okay, yeah. So you're next to British Columbia, and I believe that's Manitoba. If my geography's right. Those are the two. So Sandra, I'm gonna put this in the chat. This is an interview from this past week. Now it's just it. Now what it is, it's a It's just a paparazzi guy in New York. And New York paparazzi isn't as good as LA paparazzi at asking questions. So the main things is Carter's pumped to be back. He asked Carter's favorite, like what song gets him pumped up, and he said Two Step. And he deferred to the experts. Oh, Saskatchewan. Oh yeah. Yeah, British Columbia. Yeah, British Columbia would be on your west. So I forgot about Saskatchewan because and then it's Manitoba, Ontario, Quebec, Newfoundland, New Brunswick. I'm thinking like this. I'm visualizing the southern provinces of Canada. I forgot Saskatchewan is out there too. Right. Right, but I know that, and a lot of that's because of hockey that I know those Canadian provinces because, like I said, Calgary and Edmonton are the two teams that play out there. Yeah, I mean, I'm a little. I don't know everything, but I used to look at globes when I was a kid. Um, and no, this is an Untuck It, John. This is an Untuck It. Go Flames, Mike. Chris Clark. I don't know if you know Chris Clark. He's from my hometown. He was the captain of the Calgary Flames when they went to the Cup Finals. His dad was my mailman because he used to see me playing street hockey in the street, and he's like, "Yeah, my son, he plays for the Calgary Flames." And lo and behold, when Chris Clark went to the Capitals, I was in high school, and Chris Clark sent my team a letter. We were number one in the state for a couple months, and then we were top 10 for the rest of that year. And Chris sent us a letter. But just his dad's a great guy. I've had some, just from being the male guy in our area. He is a great dude. And he actually had asthma, which is a thing too. With he had asthma, but still was able to play hockey, which is having that respiratory type of thing and being able to play hockey is very impressive. And I was a huge Jerome McGinley fan. I didn't watch him because those games would come on so late. Except I'd see him at the All-Star game, see him in the playoffs. But I was a huge Jerome McGinley fan, and one of the Calgary Flames goalies, his brother played for my high school because Ramo, what's Ramo? The last name Ramo. His brother came to America, and his brother wasn't nearly as good as him. But his brother, Carey, his brother, I think is Laurie Ramo. He came to the States for his final year of school, and he played at the high school. $23.5 hours. Yeah, I mean, Australia is out there. Australia is, I mean, LA has a lot of direct flights, but that's are a lot of the quickest flights to Australia because I know people who have been out there. But other than that, it's you're going to be having layovers because you got to get from LA up the coast. You're locked into the gorge. All right. But yeah. Anyway, check that out. Check out the link. I don't think Australians can come, and I'm sure she can answer that. But I don't think they can come in. I'm not 100% sure, but yeah, the Carter Beauford video, check that out. It just gave us a little sneak peek into him. And the sad thing about, well, I guess we'll get to it now. Let's not waste time since that's the big thing. Canada, I feel for you, Mike. It is so confusing. I follow a couple of Canadians just because of my hockey. I'm big into hockey on it, and there's some people in Ontario that I follow, and it's just a mess. There's no the communication you guys are getting. the vaccines. I really wish we could just give you some of these vaccines, especially the Johnson and Johnson shot. I wish we could get those over to Canada because, um, it's with these vaccinations, it really comes down to the money and how high you rank up as a superpower. Like, for instance, and you guys have universal healthcare, so that's another just complex thing. But like Israel, because they just have so much power in the world, they were able to get it for everyone. America, obviously, we're able to have a pull with the pharmaceuticals. But I really wish we could get some of these vaccines, especially the Johnson and Johnson. Even I know a lot of women don't want to take it. I took J&J. I don't blame any woman for not taking it after the deaths. But if we can just get some of these vaccines out to Canada, I mean, you have a lot of these states that are, in the northern part of America that are either set or people don't want it anymore. They've already got maxed out or peaked out. And I wish we can get some over to the Canadian provinces, because they're canceling so many things. And I think the reason they canceled the Toronto show and the Vancouver show is because of the like, there's no future to guarantee that they're going to be able to get over the border. And the band doesn't want to be stuck in Canada, not being able to come back because of something crazy, So that's why they had to cut those Canadian dates. Hockey playoffs are a mess right now because they're trying to figure out how to get the Canadian teams over. Now, here's what I'll say about the Gorge. I am hopeful to go, and I have a hotel booked. The thing that's kind of making me raise my hair is this is an American. I don't know how you guys are doing in Australia and Canada. The rental car situation is wild. The rental car situation, it's like $88, $100 a day with my discount. And I know some of you guys may have certain discounts. My job has has discounts where you go and you can, get a pretty good deal. So the rental car prices are really high. I'm going to invest in a free cancellation one in the next week or so and then see what happens. But the rental cars are like $88 a day to $100 a day for a sedan. You can actually rent a cargo van for like cheaper because we did. And the vaccinations need to get to India too. But I think the problem with Europe and Asia is the AstraZeneca really was that international power, and India wasn't supposed to get a bajillion of those. But that whole AstraZeneca shutdown hurt Europe, and Europe was trying to jump ahead of America. UK was the first Live Nation UK was like, we're having festivals. Like they were doing at the end of last year. They're like, forget y'all. We don't care. We're pushing through with these festivals. And I think I haven't checked in on the UK, but I'm pretty sure those aren't happening. But right now there's a concern too and I'll have a video hopefully on this soon. Washington State and New York are the biggest two question marks for this tour. I believe the South will be fine. They're already lifting restrictions. Even here in Connecticut, if you're vaccinated, you can go and walk in public as long as you're not, in a congested. If you're in a grocery store, you still have to wear a mask. But if you're vaccinated, they don't require you wear a mask in open parks. And now, no one's been doing that 100% anyway. But I mean, they're officially announcing that you're good. You can go jog, which that's what I've been doing that. So the rideshare situation is hard because there's no Uber in George Washington, which is where the Gorge is. It's 2 hours from San Francisco. If you try to Uber, I guarantee you it's hundreds of dollars. But the thing with the Gorge is you have to rent a car or bring your own car if you travel, or bring your RV or your truck, because there's no you have Seattle stretches to the Squamish Pass, the Seattle suburbs, stretches to the mountain pass. So that goes from the Pacific Ocean west. It's only about 30. That's the thing is Seattle's only about 20, 30 miles wide, and then you hit mountains. Seattle north, south, the suburbs of Seattle, they go up for like an hour each way. If you the greater Seattle area. But the problem is the gorge is 2 hours east of Seattle. And there's not a lot of hotels. It's middle of nowhere. Actually, Grant County, Washington is the highest producer of potatoes in America, the highest county. Idaho prides themselves on potatoes, but it's just a bunch of farmland. And it's just flat, straight. It's like it reminds me of the Midwest being in Kansas. You are just driving after you get down Squamish Pass and you go down this pass, mountain pass, you get to flat sub-desert. And the gorge is a dry sub-desert area. And matter of fact, when I was there 2 years ago, it can be 70, 80 degrees in Seattle. In the gorge, 2 hours east, it can be 90 degrees. Now, it's a dry heat. It reminds me of Vegas. I've been to Vegas. It's a dry heat, but it's 2 hours east, and it's a whole different climate than Seattle. But there's nothing out there. You need a car. And the ride sharing thing, unless you know people personally, it can be iffy too. I wouldn't just get a ride from anywhere because it's pitch black, straight roads with no lighting until you get to the highway, and the highway doesn't even have that many lights. And I mean, you have Moses Lake to the east of the gorge. Ellensburg is southwest, and you have Wenatchee. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, but it's a town north of the gorge. And no, I'm not a camper. I'm sorry. Like, to me now, I'm a nature guy. I'm a daytime nature guy. The camping at the gorge is just I need my own shower. If I'm going to concerts and all that, I couldn't do the camping. And then I'm flying cross country, so to buy camping gear, rent it, that's too much work. I have a hotel booked, and I'm gonna be driving from the hotel, which is 40 minutes away. Again, Moses Lake is 40 minutes east of the gorge. Now it's a light drive. It's a light drive. It's 40 minutes, but there's no traffic. You really want to step on it, then you get there in 25, 30 minutes. If you really skirting it, but watch out for the cops on Labor Day weekend. They was out 2 years ago when I went. But no, I need my hotel. I need to shower, go to bed in a bed, and come back. I've camped before, but for the concerts, I need to be freshened up. I need to feel fresh every day. I ain't sharing showers with anyone, but I'm sorry. I need my own hotel room. Because I'll go out and be out in nature all day, but I got to come back home for the most part. Right, but they have showers, but I don't want to use public shower. That's not me. Like for a concert, like if I'm going to 3 straight concerts, I need my bed. I need my shower. I need my own shower. I'm gonna get a bunch of food. What I do at the gorge is I'll either buy like bagel bites and stuff, or I'll have like pizza or something for like late night takeout, Taco Bell type stuff. That's what I did when I went. I do that with other concerts too. I like to eat after the concert and just crash. I've heard great things about camping and the people you meet and the conversations, and I'll probably be in the campgrounds because I'm looking to be part of a podcast. Shout out to Shut Up, I Love You, their podcast. I'm hoping, Lord willing, that if I can get out there. But keep in mind, Grant County, in the entire state of Washington, they have more of a May 3rd, which is this upcoming Monday. May 3rd, we're going to get more information on what they can do. Because let me just pull this up. Shout out to antsmarching.org, but someone pulled this up. It's the Washington is a lot more wait and see than other states that are. Most states right now are just lifting restrictions. Things will be, moving rapidly in the summer. But Washington's like, no, we're gonna wait and see. Let me see if I can find the form. And I'll be putting a video of this together, hopefully, just to kind of keep you guys updated on where they're at, especially after the third, because at the third we will have an update to see where we're at with Grant County and some of the restrictions. Let me just take a look here. And the thing with the gorge is the capacity percentage is based on each section. I know John's been going maskless. Of course you've been going maskless. You got vaccinated and you never, you was ready to go. You was maskless and I won't snitch on you. But you was in South Carolina. All right. Okay. So let's look at the map. But right now, there's phase 1, 2, and 3. And just to see, and I'll have a fuller video on this. But this is what it says on the Washington State website. So phase 3, outdoor venues with seating, permanent or temporary, that meet the following requirements may exceed 200 people maximum in attendance. And an outdoor venue that meets those requirements will be open to a capacity of 25% per section or 9,000 spectators maximum. Now, this is as of today. As of today, we have 25% per section, 9,000 maximum. Okay. You're not having the gorge tomorrow, obviously. But that's where we're at. 9K. We need to get to 100% capacity per section and a maximum of like 25,000 to 30,000 just to be safe. Tickets must be sold in groups of 1 to 15. Each group of 1 to 15 spectators must be 6 feet away, side to side, front to back, from other groups of 1 to 15. Facilities with benches, bleachers, or non-numbered seating must block off a portion of seating to ensure groups are distanced. Suites or other indoor viewing areas, including dine-in food service areas, limited to 25% capacity. And windows are required to be open at all times. So that's where we're at with the gorge. We needed to get to 100%. It can happen, and I think that the cases nationwide are going down. There's some pop-ups, but it still hasn't been confirmed, and that's what I'm waiting on. And let's talk about festivals. So festivals is a sign that essentially the band knows that festivals are easier to guarantee full capacity. And it is somewhat of a sign that they're going to push on. But what could happen is if shows get canceled, at least they can bank on the festivals being events they're going to go to. I did make now. I did troll Kentucky on Facebook, and I said, "What did I say?" I said, "Good news about the festival out there. I think it's like Railroads or Railbirds, whatever it is." I said two things. One, great lineup. Two, I mean, good news, great lineup. Bad news, it's in Kentucky. Um, well, it's trolling a little bit, but Kentucky is Kentucky. I know there's great people in Kentucky, but it's also they did elect Mitch McConnell to actually speak for them in Washington, regardless of political affiliation. He is an idiot. Okay, and it looks like a chicken. So I did go a little in on Kentucky. I hope my Kentucky friends still forgive me, but until you remove Mitch McConnell from Congress, then I can't take you seriously. um, Also, they make bourbon and they ban. Kentucky makes bourbon and they have dry counties. Now, not every county is dry, but it's kind of counterintuitive. I call it North Florida because there's crazy nutcases in Kentucky that have cousins that live in Florida. So Florida man has relatives in Kentucky. So 9,000 total was the maximum. So what's that saying is, regardless of how big every section is, the maximum amount of people you can have at a gathering in Washington for a larger scale venue is 9,000 people. And I think that's just language to say, look, this is the cap. This is the most people that you're going to have, regardless of what percentage of sections. And that protects them from festivals, because you could have a GA festival and technically it's a GA section, right? And you could say, oh, well, 25% of what we usually have is 10,000. You could make up something, or they can make 10 people outdoors in Canada. Wow. Yeah. And that's why the Blue Jays and the Raptors are down in America, and that's tough. And like I said, I empathize with you guys because it's not your fault. it's some of it's the government needs to have more clear guidelines. There's been a lot of confusion in Ontario. Like I said, I've been following some tweets loosely. They had in Nova Scotia, they let all these women fly out for the Women's World Hockey Tournament, which is just like the international, the best women's hockey teams. You play for your country. It's just like a international hockey tournament for the best women in the world. They let them all come in. They said, okay, we'll let you guys come in and get ready, get situated, and you guys can play tomorrow or 2 days from now. All the girls flew in. They were getting ready to play, and then they canceled the Women's World. And they canceled some rugby thing too, I guess, in its lotto system to use their tickets. So that's actually not the case. That would be fun. That'd be entertaining to see all the love and hate and the people excited and people mad. But this is the thing. If the show cannot go as 100% capacity, the show has to be postponed or canceled. That's the rule Ticketmaster is following. So I know Red Rocks, the Revivalists, is a band that had shows at Red Rocks in June, and by June, Morrison, Colorado, the DMB Kentucky DMB fan on Twitter loves it when you rat on Kentucky. Oh, really? Cool. But the Revivalists, they're selling new tickets for 2021 with limited capacity, and they moved their 2021 dates for full capacity at Red Rocks to 2022. So it's really all or nothing. If you can't have 100% capacity, then the show has to be moved. And I'm just concerned more about that. And hello, Ron from Colorado. We were just talking about Red Rocks. And the gorge capacity is, let me just see. I mean, it's 27,000. Yeah, 27,500. It's a big lawn. Although what's funny is the Hartford lawn, you can get 25,000 people on the Hartford lawn, and there's 7,000 people in underneath the roof. Hartford, Deer Creek, and Alpine have huge capacities for amphitheaters. Faster for the internet. But we were talking about Red Rocks and this idea, Ticketmaster, AXS tickets, it's all or nothing. The Gorge isn't a festival. And even if it was a festival, it's a 9,000 cap. Washington State is saying 9,000 maximum, 25% per section in phase 3. And there's phase 1 is the worst. So as you go up in numbers, they're kind of making these phases as they come. They're making these phases in Washington State. So phase 1 was worse. Phase 2 was better. Phase 3 is good. It is good, but it's 25%. It's progress. Not good. It's progress. 25% per section, 9,000 maximum. We need to get to 27,000. That's today. Like if there was a show tomorrow, yes, 9,000 maximum, 25% per section. And the idea is that protects them from festival, because the festival could say, hey, this is one GA section. We have 25% of our, so-called crowd is 15,000. They could make up something and try to beat the system. But they're saying 9,000 maximum. That's today. And just like Red Rocks, Ron, I know if you've been paying attention to Red Rocks, they have a current capacity amount set. And there's some bands that are waiting to see how much it's going to go up before they sell tickets. And the city of Morrison is saying, look, in June of this year, we're not having anything at 100%. So the revivalists had to move their 2021 tour dates to 2022 and sell new on sales for 2021 with limited capacity. July may be a different story. August, September, we don't know for Red Rocks. But that town is making the decision, regardless of what the state is saying. And that's the thing about a lot of these, with Washington and New York, those are the biggest things, right? What are the towns or what are the states? And really, Red Rocks is unique. Morrison, because it's, that's a unique situation, right? But Washington State has it by county. New York kind of has it on everything. Mohegan lowers on Warehouse right now? Really? That's interesting. Because it was sold out. So maybe they're just dropping some more tickets. Did you get some, John? Did you get your tickets from Mohegan? I think you were looking, right? But that's where we're at. And now, like I said, I'm going to be keeping an eye on this. But there's a lot of things that, if regardless of where you're going in the United States, just be ready for these price gouges. Like I said, the rental cars are across the country are going up. John, waiting on pit. Grab some lowers, dude. Get something. It's better than nothing. I mean, you could wait, but Mohegan's a very small venue. I know you had your connect for SPAC, but I mean, Mohegan lowers there's not a bad seat in the lower level, period. It's a very, very small arena. Matter of fact, it doesn't have enough space for a hockey rink. They would have to, we had a lacrosse team who just left and moved to upstate New York. They had to lift the whole lower. I know it's you. You're a pit snob. You're a seat snob. But I mean, I would get something because it's smaller than Seaville. Mohegan Sun is smaller than Seaville. It's a very intimate arena. And so I would just go for it. But just be ready for price gouges. Check your rental. If you're going somewhere, you're flying out of town, check how much the rentals are, or know that you can Uber somewhere. Check some of the hotel. I mean, the hotel is the number one thing. The flights are cheap now, but and also the gas. There's supposed to be a gas shortage, or they're preparing for gas prices are going to hop up because people are so anxious to just drive. And people have been driving and disregarding stuff, but people who have been worried about the pandemic, gas prices are going to skyrocket. It has nothing to do with Biden and all that stuff. It has everything to do with the demand. People are ready to go. People are ready to travel, ready to get back to normal. They've been pent up for so long. And that's another reason I think that if some of this tour is canceled, it's going to be a bad PR thing. I think the South is good. The Midwest is fine. But if SPAC and or the Gorge cannot have full capacity, you are going to have some mad fans who got all hyped up. And I know it's many of you guys have brains and you know, hey, none of this is guaranteed. But you have people, this is like the equivalent of when you propose to somebody and they start telling everyone and their mom, oh, I'm engaged. They got the Instagram reveal, the Facebook reveal, the Twitter reveal. There were so many fans right now who are just like, see you here, see you in Deer Creek, see you in SPAC. And yes, a lot of these shows, Deer Creek, I don't think is going to be issued. But this whole see you at SPAC thing, it could happen. It's possible. Things are getting better. New York is about to open up in a huge way that they haven't seen for over a year. But you don't know. You have no idea what's going to happen when this is all unknown. The South I'm more comfortable with, but New York State, Washington State are two areas where you have two of the biggest weekends of the year. And you don't like these governors tomorrow, like in July, could be like, all right, whoa, it's getting crazy. Let's cut down capacity to 50%. Bands got to reschedule. Even if it's 75, 80%. SPAC is I mean, SPAC, well, it's not officially sold out. SPAC is, I mean, full. There's no seats left. Unless you're gonna like, there's a couple, you may be able to find like a resale seat. But I think that the band made a ballsy call. I mean, they had cojones to make a call to say, look, regardless of what happens, we are absolutely touring. Period. We're announcing this. We're getting these dates. We're putting the tickets back on sale. And but it's gonna be interesting to see what SPAC, the New York shows too, because Jones Beach, right, Syracuse, the New York and Washington shows are the biggest ones that I think we have to continue to watch, especially Washington being. Yeah, I think they just want to be back on the road. It's not about the 30th anniversary, because the DMB 25 anniversary, there wasn't that many special things. You did have Sugar Will came back, but DMB 25, it wasn't like, oh my gosh, they brought back all these classics and we had all these. There were some good moments. Charlottesville was a good show from the soundboard. But I don't believe that. Now they could be inspired and bust out a bunch of stuff, but I think that's going to have to do more with the pandemic than the 30th. And they're also going to have a bunch of new songs. I mean, next year or the year after next is going to be a year that's when there's more opportunity for space. Because whenever they have a new album rollout, you're going to get a bunch of songs played 30 times that are new. And I really hope if the band does play these new songs, like I love singing from the windows, but please don't play That Girl Is You and Samurai Cop and all that other stuff. Because the thing is, the more albums we get, the more problems we have for quality set lists. What used to be a really good weekend show is what the Gorge is now. Because there's so many songs from Come Tomorrow that have to be played. I mean, that's what I dealt with in 2019. Great travel experience, great atmosphere. regardless of the set list, it was a trip of a lifetime. And I mean, I've been to freaking South Africa. Now it wasn't that good. I've been to some beautiful, that was amazing. But I mean, it still was a trip of a lifetime. But it was more about the people and it was more about the travel than the actual sets. There were some good moments, Cortez. But yeah, we need these, like, to me, Big Whiskey, Away from the World, Come Tomorrow. That stuff needs to be shelved unless you're going to play a drunken song. See, the problem is I would rather have everything after every day except the new album that they've completed. I'd just rather have them ban all of those albums, which they'll never do. But I'd rather have them ban all of those albums than risk them picking the wrong song. Because as much as I want Broken Things and Drunken Soldier, that's not the most frequently played songs from that album when they play them. Right? As much as I want Lying in the Hands of God, they brought it back, and I'm glad they brought it back. But Seven and just Funny the Way It Is, and Shake Me Like a Monkey, and even Why I Am. I really don't need Why I Am in a Dave Matthews Band show. Pretty cool rocking song, but it's not like the classics. It's not like the classics. I could do without it. It gets old very quickly. You and May, as I call it. YOUANDMEH. Meh. It's cool. We can do anything. Yay. Woo. Okay. It's not, I'll back you up. So, I mean, I think that there is potential. They were on a roll in 2020. They were bringing back stuff. Yeah, Dave really doesn't care. And that's his right, right? That's his right. I can simply, if it gets to a point where I'm so frustrated, I don't have to go to shows, but I still go to shows because I'm still chasing and I still want that. But he really doesn't care, right? He really doesn't care about his catalog. His best music, he doesn't even put on albums, right? Break For It, Break Free, A Dream So Real, Shotgun. Yeah, he does. He has it, and it's like most artists, when they have a song that's unreleased, now there'll be some people like Bayou. Yeah, no, that's not funny, Ron. That's not funny. Bayou needs to be canceled. Like someone needs to find Bayou making a crazy remark back like 15 years ago, and it needs to be canceled. Made some inappropriate remarks that in 2021 aren't acceptable and politically correct. Cancel Bayou. Great jam at the end. That's it. And you know they're playing it right in the Gorge. Robert Randolph is going to be there. It's going to be played. They're going to play it 3 times in the same night and then play it the next night in the encore because Robert Randolph is there and you got to play Bayou. You got to play it. Yep, 30-minute Bayou. And then it goes right into Jimmy thing, into a 45-minute Jimmy thing. And that's half the concert for Gorge Night 2. When and then it's a Bayou reprise to close out. A Halloween fake into a Bayou reprise to close out. Robert Randolph is cool. I'm just mad the Flecktones got like, and you know what? I understand the Flecktones aren't touring right now. The Flecktones, I think, just they're not ready to get back on the road or they couldn't make the dates. You know, I'm more bummed about that. Ron's throwing up because of the idea of Louisiana Bayou having to be played at the Gorge, which is going to be played. We all know it is, without a doubt. It's going to be played. 33-minute Watchtower. That was probably the most anticlimactic. That was the most anticlimactic ending of a show that I had high hopes for. Gorge Night 3, 2019. Watchtower, 1 song closer. Are you kidding me? I was like, Jesus of Nazareth, Mary, mother of Jesus, Joseph, wife, husband of Mary. That was the most anticlimactic ending to a show. And just having to walk back to my car knowing I had to drive 2 hours in the pitch black up Skolnami Pass, and the last moments of music were a cover Watchtower. Oh yeah, Cornbread. I think you mentioned that another one. Yeah, Cornbread. Oh my gosh, that's horrible too. That song goes nowhere. That song goes nowhere. And look, Tim does some talented stuff on it, but I don't. That's not what I want from DMB. I don't want a slide guitar. Listen, I'm going to see Government Mule tomorrow. I want to hear Warren Haynes slide guitar. When I go to see DMB, I'm not looking for Tim to play slide guitar. No. Like, I'm good. That's not what I want from DMB. I want acoustic guitar from DMV. Unless it's What You Are. What You Are is the song that there's a lot of super rare songs I want to see. What You Are is a realistic song they played last year in Vegas, and I would love to see it live. I still haven't seen it live. I freaking seen Blue Water partial. I got a People Tease in Mohegan back in 2012, my second show. I got a Stone opener. I got, you know, in the Tim Reynolds era, I got a Spoon and a Dreaming Tree in back-to-back nights. Still haven't got What You Are or Fool to Think. So those are two things that I'm hoping for. I got a Blackjack in my first show, which that song's hardly been played ever, but still haven't got a What You Are. 2016, I mean, the Gorge. Yeah, I can't speak for it. Yeah, I went to regular show. I went to the pedestrian shows. I went to Hartford, and there was the thing about 2016, Hartford and Mansfield used to be 2 nights each, and they were both down to one for 2016. So I got like 2 shows. Yeah. No 45-minute Jimmy thing ever. Jimmy thing should be 8 minutes. Like literally, they should shut off the equipment at 8 minutes in. Except if they bring back the Dave acoustic guitar solo. But now what I'll say is this too. Like I said, I'm going to see Government Mule tomorrow, and I'm excited. Somehow Connecticut has become the venue, like the live music capital of the world. Connecticut has more live concerts from these mid-tier acts than Boston or New York right now. Now, New York has some stuff for the fall and the summer, but in the spring, we have 16 was Boyd's last show, and that was a live tracks his that weekend. But we have Government Mule playing 3 nights. We have Humphreys McGee next weekend. I'll be going to them. We have Joe Russo's Almost Dead. We have Goose Pigeons playing ping pong. We have a lot of mid-tier acts that'll be coming to New Haven, Connecticut, or as they call it, Gun Waving New Haven, the home of Yale and also the home of some pretty rough neighborhoods. There's some good neighborhoods and there's some bad neighborhoods. Oh, he's doing Humphreys next weekend. Yeah, I'll be a night too. I'm excited for that. The Plan B tour. I mean, it is awesome that my home state has this special access to artists who are only doing select shows. And I went to go see Warren Haynes and Danny Lewis of Government Mule last year at a farm. And what makes these shows great is last year and even now this year, all of the shows have elevation, meaning you can see over the people in front of you. I've seen some of these, like Humphreys McGee tonight is playing at a race course. And, it was flat. I've seen a lot of flat social distance concerts, not my cup of tea. I love the elevation. This is an old tennis stadium they converted into a concert venue right next to the Yale Bowl, which, fun fact, Yale Bowl inspired the Rose Bowls. The Rose Bowl in Pasadena, California was built based on the blueprint of the Yale Bowl. It's one of the first big, bowls in America, like, just seating bowls where it's one big, cylinder for football. I'm playing the Yeah, it would be good to see that government mule, heading out your way, to Red Rocks, or even Fiddler. Well, I don't think they would do Fiddlers. That's a little too big for them. But for Red Rocks, which they've done before, it would be nice to see them. And I really hope Colorado opens up a little more. Um, I really hope that Red Rocks is able to get some larger shows, because the Red Rocks, the demand you guys have. Oh, you have to go, Ron. But the thing is, everyone in the West will take a 10-hour trip to go to Morrison, Colorado. People will literally, Fish was out there, Dick's Sporting Goods Park, that's the MLS stadium for the Rapids. The way the West is set up, people will drive hours because that's all you can do, right? There's no shows coming to Boise, Idaho, or Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, or Missoula, Montana, except if it's a small artist or a country artist. So people will drive to Colorado from Utah, Wyoming, Idaho, because they know that's just a reality. And they have a huge demand, and people from the East Coast will go up there. But the thing is, with the restrictions, they only can have 2,000, 1,500 people, they only can have around 1,000 to 2,000 people, and these shows are selling out quick. So hopefully they get a little bit of a larger capacity allowance, because it is a hub of live music for the West, which is more spread out and open. And there's really just parts of, the West, you only have so many major cities, and there's a lot of open, desolate space that is just, so to travel, it's very hard from one major city to another. It could be 4 or 5 hours. And I actually did research. Thank God I didn't move out there. As a company I was going to move for, furloughed a bunch of people during the pandemic. It was an entertainment-based company. But I was going to move to Salt Lake City. And the reason I didn't move to Salt Lake City is because, first of all, Mormons. That's all there is. Like the Mormon culture. Listen, I'm a Christian, right? I go to church every Sunday, but thank you, DMB 83 Cyrus Jones, aka the Jane, the fan that Jane likes. Yeah, the problem with living out there in Salt Lake. Now I would have moved to a Denver. But Salt Lake City, it's actually it's growing because people are leaving California. But and there's a lot of land, and it's very grid-like, very organized city. But there was just not in order to go to Denver, I had to drive hours upon hours, and then Vegas, still a drive. Seattle was 12 hours, so it's I was I'm going to be stuck. I live in the Northeast where I'm 2 hours from Boston, 2 hours from New York, 4 hours from Philly. I just need two cities that are within 2 hours. And you can't find that out there. It's Salt Lake City or bust. And all they got is the Utah Jazz. And sometimes DMB comes there. Sometimes acts go to Utah. But many times they don't, right? So Mike gonna do the Denver shows. Those are very pop, but again, those Fiddler shows have been some of the top attended shows as far as percentage sold and overall attendance. Fiddlers outdid a lot of the 2 night. So if you look at some of the sales from 2019, Fiddlers was in when you look at the multi-night runs. Fiddlers was in one of the top selling multi-night runs, and they have less capacity than New Jersey, Camden, New Jersey, but they got more. So Denver is a very popular hub for those who live out in the great wide west, wild west. And even Mike, you said you're going. That's where you're going. You're going to be going to Denver if the borders open. So those are definitely popular. It's a popular hub there. I think the band realized that once they started going back to Denver on a more frequent basis, when to Fiddlers, because Red Rocks they outgrew Red Rocks almost 2 decades ago. In the late '90s they outgrew it, and then there was an issue with one of the shows during the stand-up week, the '05 Weekend on the Rocks, where I think they were just, fans were rowdy and stuff, and Red Rocks was like, all right, y'all too big, that's it. So yeah, we'll have to see what happens. But there's a lot of variables, especially for the international travelers. But even for the American travelers, I really think that the potential gas shortage, the gas prices, the rental cars availability, because everyone's trying to make up for last year's lost vacation. It's going to take a year for everything to settle out logistically. But once we get past this year, things should be better. Fingers crossed, things should really be all right. We're back to normal. All right, yeah, let me know, Mike. Let me know. I will figure something out because I still haven't bought anything. But the thing is, the gorge, the tickets aren't the problem. Even this year, worst case, you're in the most beautiful lawn ever, and even so, I feel like the prices will drop. That's the thing I like about the gorge is no matter how popular the shows are, only so many people can book hotels and physically drive out that weekend. Even if it was B&B's last weekend in the gorge, they're announcing a retirement. Yes, it's going to be expensive. You better have a hotel. And even the lawn's probably going to be sold out. But eventually, only so many people can wait there and linger there. And that's really the difference between the gorge and the other major venues. You can live in Indianapolis. You can live in Saratoga Springs or even Albany, New York. And those areas will have high demand until the gates open because so many fans can drive up that day. But you can't just drive up to the gorge. There's not many people that live out there. It's 2 hours from, because I've driven across the entire state of Washington. It's 2 hours from Seattle. It's to the west. It's about another two and a half, 3 hours from Spokane, and that's even a smaller city than Seattle. It's not a major city. The greater Spokane Valley area in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, make up a pretty decent group of people, but it's still not close. So you don't have people that can just on a whim just drive up there that day. You got to have your camping. You got to have your hotel, and you got to have a car. So it's very difficult unless you live in Seattle and you have a car of your own, and that's not everyone. That's most people. That's not most people. Most people who live there, that's their home venue. They've already booked things, but there's not many people that are waiting because that's still a 2 hour drive. And I know Ron mentioned Bella. I would love to see him guest somewhere. And I don't know how comfortable he feels. He has children. He did social distance. He did a virtual concert with his wife a couple of times over the pandemic, and he seems to be taking it seriously. And they have no real known plans, from what I can see now, to tour. Let me just look up Bella Fleck and Fleck Tones. I don't see any. Wait, they may have dates. Maybe I'm wrong. Let's see. I don't. I don't know. Oh yeah, they have nothing. Yeah, sorry. All their dates are for 2022. 2021 is empty. Yeah, I think. Oh no, Dave would love to have Bella out there. I think that looking at them, they don't even have tour dates. So to me, that tells me that they're just worried about, because everyone's been announcing, right? Major, major acts, minor acts, everyone in between. There's nothing. If you look on the Bella Fleck and the Flecktones website, 2021 is empty. I was looking at dates. I was like, wait, what did this mean? 4-1. Did this pass? And like, no, this is 2022. So it's really up to Bella. It's really up to Bella. And I know he just lost one of his buddies, Chick Corea. They would do it. They had a duo like a Dave and Tim. Chick Corea played piano, and they would go across the country. And I actually regret not seeing them because they were about 30 minutes here from me in Yukon, University of Connecticut, at a very intimate venue where I did see the Avett brothers. And I passed on it because I was like, I couldn't get someone to go, and it's not the Flecktones. But anyway, rest in peace to Chick Corea, a very talented piano player. And I think that it sounds like the Flecktones in general, they have no major plans. And I followed them on socials, and come to think of it, I haven't really heard anything or seen anything on the social media aspect. There's always something that Victor Wooten has his brothers, right? Has the Wooten brothers band, and nothing with Bella or his wife. Sometimes they do some things. It's only been at home. The kids are there, and they're playing their banjos. So we'll see what happens. I'm more comfortable this week with going to the Gorge than I was last week, and I see that the country America is officially about to open up for real, for real. New York has announced that I think it's this up there starting soon. You're going to be able to have less, limitations. Restaurants can do what they want. So I really think that my concern when the tour was announced, when last week, was okay. They know stuff we don't know, but how much do they know? And this week I'm like, look, the South is fine. The Northeast is getting there. New Hampshire is going to act like the South. Live free or die. They have very similar freedoms as far as the lack of taxes, state taxes, and the weapons. You can carry a lot easier in New Hampshire. The land is like the South. It's more open, and if you want to build something in the woods, you can build something in the woods. So Guilford shows, to me, I don't see any issue. They're on a fast track to open. Boston area. Mansfield is in the great. You could technically call them, they're part of the Boston Metro in theory. They're just south of the city. So the greater Boston area is starting to make changes. And Mohegan shows here in Connecticut look more and more real by the day, even though they're indoors. They're in November. So I really have confidence in those shows. So that is hope. There is hope. I do want to just make sure that we officially get these announcements of rollouts of being 100%. I want to see the numbers drop, especially for Washington and New York. I will try to make a video in more detail, if depending on what happens Monday with this state of Washington. They update every 2 Mondays. Excuse me. every 2 Mondays they update kind of where they're at on their with their guidelines and these phases again. Phase 1 being the worst phase, the most restrictions. Phase 3 being better and a step forward. But they've gone through phase 1, phase 2. Now they're phase 3. Some counties are phase 2 in Washington, but most are phase 3. And we'll have more hopefully on Monday on what's going on in Washington. Just see what they're gonna do. And again, I just hope that we do have all the shows as planned, no cancellations. People have been pent up inside, and that's where the danger lies. Actually, next week, I'm going to save it for next week because we're at the hour mark, hour 11. But next week, I will talk about putting every day the top 5 songs from every day against any of the top 5 songs from any album after every day. That way we have content to talk about. You will see videos on my YouTube page from the show tomorrow. Warren Haynes and his band, Government Mule. I'm excited too because there is a Chuck Sperry poster. If anyone saw the Gorge Night 2 poster from 2019, one of the most coveted DMB posters of all time, up there with the gold pour and some of the Kit Kats and some of the other stuff, Leroy's last show. He's making a Sperry woman for the Government Mule show I'm going to. It's a limited 100 sold per show. So I'm hoping to pick one up, and I'm getting there early. And I don't think that many, there's going to be people that they don't want to get it, but I don't think everyone's going to be there. But I'm still going to get there early, hopefully to snag one of the 100. Someone went Friday in the DMB community, messaged me on Facebook and said she was able to get one. She got there right as the doors were opening, was able to get one pretty easily. So any other questions, any other thoughts, any other concerns, fire away, and then we'll close out. Thank you guys for checking in. I see there's 6 people here, and that's what I like to see. I'm not about, I know it's not realistic to get like 40 people, 100 people, 1,000 people, 10,000 people, but even just 4 or 5 of us talking about DMB, it's nice. And then checking how you guys are doing in your respective areas of the world and the country. Granny, like I say, Mrs. Jones, we are wishing you the best for your recovery from surgery. Glad you could stop in. I don't know if you're still here or if you had left, but just stay the course. Listen to the doctors, and in due time, you'll be out there for Deer Creek in August. You got more time. That's the other beauty of it. Do you recover, rest, heal up, and then you got till August. So it's a beautiful thing that you have more time to recover, check up, post-op, all that stuff. Okay. Appreciate it, Mike. Like I said, I just wish you guys the best in Alberta, the beautiful province of Alberta. Actually, my friend Kim got married in Alberta, out in the wilderness, to her wife. Her wife is actually from the UK, and the place that they could actually both be for the wedding was in Canada, because she wasn't a U.S. citizen, Kim's wife, Haley. And there's some beautiful photos of them. They got married, I can't remember how long ago it's been, but it was more of they got married on their own. I think their parents were there, if that, but it was just one of those things. They wanted to get married. They had struggles of getting in one country. My friend Kim went over to the UK, went back, but there's some beautiful photos from the wedding that they had a photographer take. And eventually I'll get up there. I have goals to get to British Columbia is more of the first. I mean, I definitely want to go to Toronto, GTA area. That's the closest to me. Toronto and Quebec. Ontario and Quebec are the closest provinces to me. But I would love to get out there to Alberta to see Edmonton and Calgary and see the beautiful landscape. I believe the Humboldt team is out of Alberta. Yeah, they're in Alberta. The Humboldt Broncos, who had the tragic crash there, and the hockey team, the junior hockey team. Oh yeah, right. The Canadian Rockies, they stretch up there. But I definitely, the other thing is, I don't know if or when I'll be able to get up there. I'd love to drive up the highways from British Columbia up towards Alaska. That may be a stretch trip because I know it's very desolate. Oh, Humboldt and Saskatchewan. Sorry, I'm mixing it up. I'm lumping those two provinces together. Saskatchewan. Okay, right. So they're over. They're over to the east of you then, because I know it's British Columbia and Alberta are the westernmost southern southern stack of provinces. Okay, they're in Saskatchewan. Okay, so they're over there. Okay, but I hope one day I'll be able to drive the highways of British Columbia from Vancouver north. It's just beautiful, and it's milder. That's what's interesting too is Vancouver can be warmer than parts of Connecticut. Now, obviously, when you go further north, it gets colder, but even so, even a couple hours north of Vancouver, it's not as cold as it is in Connecticut all the time. Because I like to look at temperatures, things like that. And then, oh yeah, I don't know if I'll ever get out there. I would love to see the part of British Columbia where I think it's Hyder, Alaska. It's landlocked from America. Oh no, I know you guys don't live in igloos. Actually, there's probably more Alaskans that live out in a colder environment than Canada because the northern provinces of Canada are so desolate. But yeah, no, I know you guys are not in igloos. You guys have beautiful landscape. But it can be milder in British Columbia than parts of the Northeast. But yeah, I think it's Hyder, Alaska is landlocked. It's a part of Alaska that you can only enter through Canada. You have to go through Canada to get to that part of Alaska. And they have I think there's a video camera where you can technically enter the border, but it's a very, very desolate town. I don't think I'd be able to get up that far, but I saw it on YouTube. I was looking up someone doing a big drive, but I definitely want to explore British Columbia. But I'll see. And like I said, Alberta, but I don't know how I would plan those. I'd probably have to do them one and one. There'd probably be some hockey games involved with that for sure. Get out to Edmonton, the new Rogers place. You guys still got the Saddle Dome, right? Because you guys couldn't get that new arena, right? Didn't they? Did they approve it? I know Edmonton's arena's been done. It's been like 4 or 5 years now. But I know Calgary was trying to get that new arena, and there were some roadblocks, which I don't blame Canadians. Oh, you're getting it in 2020. Oh, you guys did approve it. Okay. The sad thing to see though is that same thing happened. Edmonton already had it. The average working class fan gets screwed out of these new arenas. And in America, this has been going on for 20 years. This has been going on from this, we've had all these new arenas, the Staples Center. Actually, it's been about 25-ish years. Because the Bruins built a new arena. The Flyers, those were it's the same architects that built some of these. Penguins recently in the mid 2000s. Staples Center was 99. But you have Joe Louis Arena in Detroit just got replaced. But you have these arenas that are very old, historic hockey barns, as they call them. And they were fairly priced. And you get a new arena and they price out the working class people. And that's been a thing that's happened in the States. And I hope it doesn't happen in Calgary. I know Edmonton was having empty seats. They were in first place. Oh, you guys have the oldest arena? And oh yeah, because Vancouver's arena is like in that was built in the 90s, because that was with all of the like the Bruins and the Flyers and all of that. Okay, that makes sense. You guys have the oldest arena, yeah, because they've replaced all, yeah, because Joe Louis and all, yeah. Nassau Coliseum. When was the Saddle Dome? Scotiabank Saddle Dome. 1983. I don't think that's the oldest. I think the technically the Nassau Coliseum. Technically the yeah, it's 83. The Nassau Coliseum is 72. Yeah, 1972. Because I've been to the Nassau Coliseum. Now next year the Islanders are having their new rink. So that'll be, you guys will probably go down. But the Nassau Coliseum, no, well, so there's no the let me look up that. So what the Islanders did was this. The Nassau Coliseum had asbestos issues, so they moved to Brooklyn for a couple of years, and then they split their season. Actually, I think they still are split in their season. And let me see. Let me look on their site. So they were splitting their seasons in between Brooklyn and the Nassau Coliseum. The Coliseum is 70. Yeah, I think it was 70. It was built for the Islanders and the New York Nets. The Brooklyn Nets used to be on Long Island in the ABA, and I think they were in New York Nets, and then they went to New Jersey, and then they went to Brooklyn. Yeah, taking it. But yeah, they're splitting time. Oh, DMB played the Saddle Dome in '98. Oh wow! But they were also, keep in mind, they were also touring a lot back then. They were just playing it. You know, they even played. Was that was '98? No, that was in the mid 2000s. They played in Ottawa, right? They're not going to play Ottawa anymore. They're gonna do Toronto and call it a day. But yeah, DMB was just playing whatever open shows they could play. Um, but yeah, they're the Islanders are playing in. I think they're at the Nassau Coliseum. Oh yeah, they played Blues Fest, right? Yeah, they did play Blues Fest because they played in Ottawa and they played in Montreal that year. Oh yeah, MSG. MSG is one of the most beautiful. I have a. Let me see if I can show you this. I have a. That is my Billy Joel Madison Square Garden poster. There is nothing like seeing a concert at Madison Square Garden. I've seen Billy Joel and 21 Pilots, and I really wanted to see a DMB there. The prices are really crazy, and I haven't been able to see. And I've seen basketball there too. I haven't seen hockey there, but MSG is just an amazing venue. You are on top of the upper deck is on top. I mean, the Saddle Dome is the same way. But it's just the way that it's set up. It's so iconic. The sight lines are amazing. And you don't get that in sports. Oh yeah, Madison Square Garden. And it's like the third or fourth iteration of Madison Square Garden. It used to be somewhere else. They had to keep moving it around. What is it? Oh yeah, 64. But yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful place to see anything. I was hoping to see hockey there soon, but the tickets right now there's only 10% capacity, so there's just hopefully get to a Flyers because I don't know if you know, Mike, I'm a Flyers fan. I'm born and raised in Connecticut, so I was here for the last couple years of the Whalers. I was watching hockey. I went to my first hockey game in October 30th, 1996. It was Islanders Whalers in Hartford. And then that same season, I went to the last Whalers games. I only went to 2 Whalers games. They left. It was bittersweet because I was getting into hockey, and then they leave. I then became a Flyers fan because Keith Primo was traded for Rob Brind'Amour. And, oh, yeah, tough. Yeah, it's been a rough year. Actually, I've been blacked out because I have the problem with because of the divisions. I have NHL.TV, but whenever the Flyers play the Rangers, the Bruins, the Islanders, or the Devils, I'm blacked out on NHL.TV. I also technically, it's the way these markets are set up. Oh yeah, and honestly, of that line, Lindros and Leclerc were 2 players that attracted me. And I think it was that Mikael Renberg is part of that line too. But Leclerc and Lindros were the 2 players, and Eric Desjardins was on those teams in the late 90s. And I knew who they were. So when Keith Primo got traded there, I was like, these guys fight and they win. They hadn't won a cup in forever since America's bicentennial in 1976. But they always fought hard and they could score. And I love that because there's some teams that had, they sucked, but they would fight. And there were some teams that were really good in finesse. Was that Caden Primo? Because I saw Keith Primo's kid. If that's Caden, I saw him play college hockey before the pandemic for a couple years. Is he with Okay, he's in there. Okay. So yeah, I saw him. He's a real good player. In college, in our college hockey system, which is actually busting out more players. It used to be most players Americans didn't play college hockey. Paul Kariya, arguably the best college hockey player of all time, played for Maine, and he was a huge player to influence other kids to play college hockey. Because he was just amazing. But most players are playing juniors in America. And there's some Canadians that we get. Yeah, he's from Philly. Yep. He played for BC. Okay. He's a short dude, right? He's a little undersized. Because who did he play? Oh yeah, when he was starting to get hot. Yeah, he was with Calgary. That's why. Yeah. I remember him coming in, and they would always talk about that on the broadcast. How he was from there. Yeah, and Boston College is a powerhouse. And he's still there. Okay, he's still out. I lose track of all these players, and actually, if you watch, one thing I'm excited about is hockey is coming back to ESPN, and the same year that the Whalers left, The Whalers leave in April of 97. We just move into a new home. It was, this new development. The fall of 97, I get a babysitter. And we were the first people to move into this development in 97. This April and May, late April, early May, we were like the only house. In the fall of 1997, my parents talked to some new neighbor who just moved in and said, "Hey, you're a work-at-home mom? You're a stay-at-home mom. Can you babysit my kid?" Lo and behold, her husband comes home, sees we're playing hockey. He's like, "Oh, my name is John Butchercross. We just moved here so I could do this show called NHL Tonight." And I have known he's no longer married to he's divorced, and but I'm still close with, I still know them to the sense, like, I grew up with the family on the same street. I used to go skate in Mr. Butchercross's backyard rink. But it's a little different because now he's somewhere else in Connecticut and she's still on the street, his ex-wife. So like I was just during the pandemic, I went down there with my mask, stopping by for Mother's Day to see my mom, and I stopped by to see his ex-wife and his son, one of his sons who was home. And then I saw him a couple years ago at a hockey game. Because his son was on when his son, who now he's a golfer, when he was his senior year of high school. I went to go see them, and I was talking to him. But I've known the Butcher, that family for a while, and he is a class act. When I tell you off the camera, he is a great guy. Always let me skate on his rink, right? Where I live 2 houses down. Always was generous. He wrote me a letter for when I went to college, and he gave me a little graduation memento. But he said, "Thank you for being a positive influence on my kids," because his kids were a little younger than me. Especially his youngest kid was like 10 years younger than me. I used to just play with his youngest son. We used to just play street hockey and stuff. And his youngest son really looked up to me and some of the other kids. But as far as just who he is off the ice, he is the same person. Like, I know some people, you see a celebrity as someone who's known in media, and they're kind of a rude person. But he is a class act, a generous person, a great person who has a great story on his own life, which maybe one day he'll tell it. But essentially he was adopted. But he has a great story. And I haven't seen him personally in a while. He did actually, I posted a picture of one of his things on, like, "Hey, this is me and my family at a college hockey game." He's like, "Oh, nice to see the O'Neills are doing well." But he's a great guy, and he loves, not only is he a hockey fan, but he can morph in and out of sports, which that's why he's on SportsCenter. That's why he's still there. He could have easily been let go from ESPN, but he had such a skill set. He knows golf, he knows hockey, he knows a little bit of football, basketball, and he's just a great dude who, even with everything that's gone on with ESPN, he's still there. And I'm excited to see the hockey come back to ESPN. I think people have to understand. I think the problem with hockey fans is they don't understand hockey is a niche sport in America. Now, I can't speak. I know TSN and Sportsnet, though, like, hockey is the sport, right? You guys only have the Blue Jays and the Raptors. So, but the one thing about what's happening in America is NBC is losing the contract. It's expiring at the end of the Stanley Cup. Right, hockey is life. And we have some great hockey towns, but even in Boston, as much of a hockey town it is, the Red Sox and the Patriots are bigger. You get more people. I mean, there's still a lot of great hockey talent in Boston area, but if the Red Sox win the World Series, if the Patriots win the Super Bowl, it's a bigger thing. The Celtics win. Hockey, though, is starting to get more popular. In the last 15 years, hockey has been a big thing in Boston, where it's almost like sometimes people would rather go to a Bruins game than the Red Sox game. But that's a whole different story. But one thing with the United States is football is that's our king. But we also have a nuanced cluster of so many other sports. Soccer is very popular, even though we have the MLS, which is a very low level league nationally. But even so, there's just soccer is a sport that there's no concussions. Well, there can be with the headbutts, but soccer is so much more accessible. And even in the wealthier communities, people play soccer because they don't want their kids playing hockey or football. So it's a niche sport. But to have NBC was okay. I people like Doc Emmerich. I didn't like him. But long story short, I'm glad NBC is losing their contract and it's going back to ESPN. But the problem with hockey fans in America is they have Napoleon syndrome. They can't accept that hockey is a niche sport. It's very popular. People respect it. People will go to a game or two a year and have a great time with business partners, but that's all they'll do. But because it's a niche sport, the contracts are hard. The coverage is hard. People are like, why don't they like our sports center here in the States that's the big like sports thing, you know. And I think ESPN owns TSN. So like your sports news, you're going to have hockey in Canada. That's your life. Junior hockey, the Memorial Cup, that's a huge thing in Canada. That's all you guys really have. Where you have one basketball team, so you guys have that as your primary stuff. But hockey will never be something where it's just the highlights are going to be limited in the sports commentary shows. You have NHL Network, which I know you guys have that up in Canada too, but NHL Network will show hockey everywhere. Yeah, you have the CFL, right? Yeah, CFL. I forgot about that, which your different yard markers and goalposts change. But yeah, even so, hockey is the national sport. You guys have Team Canada can field. Team Canada can field 10 they can field 5 good junior teams to play in the junior hockey tournament, or like 3 or 4 Olympic teams if the pros are able to play. But in the United States, we have one team. They say untuck it, untuck it. These are great things, man. These untuck it shirts, man, are dope. I love them. Well, this is the fleece, and then I have a collared shirt. I need to get a sponsor. Untuck it. Come on, sponsor me. But yeah, anyway, I said that to say, Mike, is that a lot of hockey fans they can't admit that that's why they're not covered. These things can be pretty, because it's like you have to get them at the outlets. I think it's like 30. I mean, some of the shirts can be $30. Like you're not going to really get a discount, but it fits great. You can untuck it, right? You can let it hang, right? Some of them 50, maybe 50, 60. So they are a little pricier, but there is good quality. This is a good quality fleece. I've washed it and it still feels A1. But anyway, what I was saying, Mike, is that a lot of hockey fans can't admit that hockey is a niche sport. It's grown a lot. I mean, I was so mad when the Whalers went to Carolina. Carolina has a tailgate, like a DMB tailgate, which ironically Raleigh will have the first show. And Hurricanes playing Raleigh. But they have a whole tailgate situation in Raleigh. Now, they still have growth there, and the attendance doesn't look as good because, like, by the numbers, they're still at the bottom of the league. But the attendance is a whole gray area anyway, because tickets are distributed to businesses and all that. But Hockey has grown a lot in America. Nashville, where John's from, has a huge season ticket holder base now of celebrities and average Joes. Vegas has done great. Vegas is another market that, even from day one, usually like a southern market will get hockey and everyone gets excited, then it dies down, like the Atlanta Thrashers. The Vegas Golden Knights are looking like, we'll see what happens after the pandemic. They have a great backing. Seattle's coming next season, and Seattle is a market where a lot of people come from northeastern colder markets like Chicago, Boston, and New York. So they're going to have a following. And in Seattle is a big market where people they wanted hockey. They still want their basketball back. Yeah, Seattle's coming. So the Kraken are going to have a large following, and I'm pretty sure the season tickets are probably filled up at this point. I think they did have a sale, and they filled it up. So it's growing, but it's still niche. You can sell out. I think the thing with America is you can sell out a 20,000 person arena for hockey, especially for the playoffs. The playoffs are always a big thing here. Like even the Tampa in Florida, the teams will fill up an arena, but outside of that arena, it's a niche sport. You can get 20, 30, 40, 50,000 people to be engaged in hockey, but that's it. Everyone else doesn't really care. I mean, Pittsburgh, the Penguins have won a bunch of Stanley Cups in recent history, but Pittsburgh's a football city. It's just a football. Like there's thousands of people that have never seen a Penguins game in the Pittsburgh area. Now they love the Penguins. They love the blue collar mentality of hockey, but most of them don't truly care, but they can get, again, 20, 30,000 people to be engaged. So that's the thing with America is we have so many options of sports, really, than any other country. There's nothing like America where you have baseball, football, basketball. Like in Europe, you may have cricket, rugby, and soccer, but you don't have NASCAR, baseball, basketball, football, like college, pro. Like there's no junior hockey team that's getting more fans that has an arena big enough than an NHL. Our college football teams have more fans. Neyland Stadium, where John's home state of Tennessee, they have a larger capacity. They have 90, 100,000 people that can fit into the venue, and that's more than the Titans. So the Rose Bowl in Michigan's hockey, Michigan's football stadium holds over 100,000 people. Penn State's like 110,000. So we have a very unique setup where hockey can be buried in the shape of things between college football, professional football, Major League Baseball, basketball. Even American soccer can get more fans. Atlanta United can get a football stadium full of fans, and the Atlanta Thrashers couldn't last. So it's a very interesting dynamic. Anyway, I just spent the last hour talking about hockey, but I love the conversation. I can get sidetracked for hours. But Mike, like I said, I really hope that things get better for you guys down there and are up there in Alberta and the rest of the state, because it's just a mess. And you guys should not have to suffer the way you guys are suffering there. There should have been a better way, but this whole thing is a mess. This pandemic, it's been a mess to get vaccines, to get things. Everyone's struggling. Even the major European Union countries, and as Canada and other really top tier nations are struggling to get these vaccines. And hopefully, we can get, things can be moved up from countries like United States and even Israel that's fully vaccinated. I'm sure they've already moved everything out anyway, but there's some areas that have gotten vaccinations, but hopefully things work out. All right, next week, again, be on the lookout for, next week in the live, we're going to talk about everyday the top 5 songs from Every Day going head to head with any album after Every Day came out. Obviously, Every Day can't compete with the big 4. As far as, well, I know, Busted Stuff technically came out after, but it was leaked before. So I consider Under the Table and Dreaming, Crash, Before These Crowded Streets, and Lily White / Busted Stuff as the big 4 albums. Every Day, technically, in the timeline of when they were recording this stuff, was after it, even though they added some songs to Busted Stuff. Like You Never Know, they re-recorded it. I still think of it as pre Every Day, but I think Every Day is the best album for this band's setup. Not every song, right? Because Every Day isn't a good song without the violin, but the majority of that album can be played as a almost mini acoustic rock band, which is what the band is now, and it sounds good. From Fool to Think to What You Are, to Sleep to Dream Her, to If I Had It All. Just songs that they don't need a violin, the piano, the guitar, the acoustic and electric guitars, respectively. The bass lines are key, and the drumming, of course. Carter Beauford on the drums. But all right, that's it. It's your boy ConcertViz34. Definitely like, comment, subscribe. I'm out. Peace.